I already made a lot of different videos about technique, but in this video I want to focus on tactics, especially for single players. And every situation is a little different, so you cannot really say you have to play that shot in that situation. But there are some rule of thumbs that I want to present you now, so these are my 7 tactical advices for single players. Advice number 1, really important: if you smash, most of the times, especially if you have quite a powerful smash, the shuttle will always come back to the same side where you smashed to, and also it will be a short return, like 90 to 95% I would guess, and will come there. So try to always follow up your smash. So if you hit cross court, you follow up cross court. If you hit long line, follow up long line. Don't try, especially if you hit with really a lot of power, to get back to the middle. Just follow up your smash, and in most cases that will help you to be really high at the net and put again pressure on your opponent. Also important here that you focus on getting out of the corner quickly. So I talked about it a lot in the tutorials about the scissor jump and the China jump, that it's important to get out of the corner fast, and that will also help you to follow up a lot faster towards the net. Tip number 2, if you're under pressure and if you have to lift the shuttle, I would prefer always to lift to the forehand side. Like, there are only very few opponents that are more dangerous from the forehand than from the round the head corner. And the reason is very simple. On the forehand side, you have to use most of the times a China jump, and you cannot use your body for hitting with power. On the round the head corner, you can always use a scissor jump, turn your hip, and by that the smash is a lot harder on that side of the court. One important thing: if you lift too high, then also on the forehand side your opponent will be able to do a scissor jump, use his full body. So you have to put a little bit speed on your lift and also get a little bit on his forehand side beside him. So he has to use a China jump, but that will give you a little bit more room to breathe in defense, and you don't have to care so much for a full power smash like on the other side. Tip number 3, if you're under pressure in the rear court, don't make the mistake and take the complete tempo out of the rally. A lot of players just play a very soft shot to the net when they are behind the body, and that will most of the times just give an easy kill for your opponent. So even if you're under pressure, try always to put a little bit tempo into the shuttle, and that will help you to get back into the rally and will also make it a lot harder for your opponent to kill it off at the net. I already made a tutorial about neutralization shots, and that's exactly what this is all about. So not taking all the tempo out when you're under pressure, when you're behind the body, but use a little bit of speed and make it harder for your opponent to finish the rally off. Tip number 4 is also something that can help you if you are under pressure and in situations when your opponent is hitting cross-court shots. If he's playing cross-court, he will most likely follow up to the other side of the court and follow up his cross shot, and that opens up the side where he played from. So it is a really good choice to just play cross back if you're under pressure. So in many cases, by doing that, you can break his footwork rhythm and also get him in really big trouble. A very good example is if he's hitting a full power cross smash, it's very likely, as I said in tip number 1, that he will just follow up on his smash. But now if you can manage to just play it cross back, maybe cross short or cross long, both is a really good option. Then you can really get him on the wrong foot and maybe score directly or get back into the rally by breaking his rhythm of footwork. Tip number 5 is especially useful if you play against taller players, and that tip is: try to turn your opponent. Most of the times your opponent will hit a shot and then move back towards the middle. So that means if he plays from the forehand rear court and then you give him the next shot to the backhand front court, that's easy because he can just follow up his shot and he doesn't have to turn his body. What makes it really difficult, especially for tall players, because they need a lot longer to turn their hip here, is to play, for example, one time forehand rear court, one time backhand rear court, and also with some pressure, so he is forced to turn his hip quickly, and in the end that will cause a lot of mistakes and will give you the upper hand in a lot of rallies. Tip number 6, learn to make the court big. And by making the court big, I mean play shots that force the opponent to run all the way to the corners. So when you play to the net, play the shots a little bit higher so they go down right behind the net, And if you play to the rear court, try to find a height that forces the opponent to go all the way back to his rear court. If you play too flat, he will just have to stretch out his arm and you don't force him to run the distance to the rear court. So try to get a little bit higher in the rear court and try to play really close to the net in the front court. And why is that so useful? That is useful if you especially realize that you're a lot fitter than your opponent. Or if you want to avoid these flat and fast rallies, but are more like the runner type of player that wants to play long rallies with long distance running. And if you know that you're better than your opponent in that, try to make the court as big as possible for him. Last but not least, tip number 7, and that is the opposite of tip number 6. Also learn to make the court smaller. Especially if you're a fast, explosive player that is maybe also really good with the racket. Then you don't want to have that big court where you have to run long distances. You want to more create a match where you have a lot of explosive short jumps and use that racket speed. And you can do that by just playing all the shots a little bit further into the court. So don't play them too close. Already start with the service. Play it a little bit longer into the court and you will see that the shuttle will automatically come back further into your court as well. So your court won't get that big and you will also force your opponent to play a lot of flat and fast shots, and that will also help you to get into that fast game on a small court. When good double players have to play singles, that's what they try to do, because they are really strong when the court is not that big, so they try to put a lot of tempo into their shots. The shuttle comes back fast towards them, and here they are good with the racket, they are good with small jumps, and they really love to play that smaller court. And can be also useful for you, especially if you realize the other one is really one of these fitness guys who likes to run all over the court with long distances. Then it maybe also makes sense for you to make the court smaller and rely more on your explosiveness and on your speed with the racket. So much for that. My 7 tactical advices for single players. I hope you have some ideas how you can maybe be a little bit smarter on court than your opponent, maybe get some easy points or force mistakes by him. And I hope this video helps you to improve your game and also, of course, win more games against your friends and competitors. If you like this video, please don't forget to hit the like and also the subscribe button. Turn on the notifications to hear about my latest videos, and I hope I see you there in my next tutorial. So much for now. Bye bye.